What kind of beer did you bring?
There's some fair weathers over there.
Oh, I got some peepers there. Yeah, seats. Look at this. So like, this is the first thing I was thinking about. It's like I'm sitting on here, like it's all this hard little chair. You're in like this nice couch.
Yeah, I like these. This is nice. I like the couch.
But I've only done this as the fourth one. Fourth or fifth? No, fourth. Anyway, and I sat in this chair for two of them. Then I sat over there because Andy was sitting here first. It's just different though because you just think about, the perceived power or like talking down versus talking up. And when I sat over there, I felt like I was being talked to more, but it was good just because it's coming out of the chair position. So I had the thought of switching halfway through or whatever.
Oh yeah, just like at halftime, and then you take the power share.
Yeah,
it's the power dynamic.
Yeah, the power dynamic. Yeah, goddamn podcast. I swear though, I keep wanting to do like every day a podcast as far as all the videos.
See, there's some characters in this valley you could interview.
Yeah, I keep thinking of exactly. I'm like Opie or Carl with OK or whoever. I keep thinking of people. I'm like, I could sit down with Opie for 2 hours.
And a lot of people that you could interview don't like each other. And you could get that dynamic,
Well, I already thought about that with you, which you would be careful to avoid like gossip, right? Because you can easily like have
touching the small town void.
Yeah. That was my thought, and made me think of. Turn this heat up. Like it's kind of cold here. I just turned it on a little bit. I'm freezing for some. I need to put a hoodie on. What was I thinking about? Yeah, all week I just kind of take random notes. I'm like, what could we talk about? But then you can use bullshit about anything.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about like being focused, super focused on something versus scatterbrained on things. And I don't know, where do you think you sit on being focused on trying to get shit done versus finding yourself getting scatterbrained?
So I find myself on the scatterbrained end of the spectrum.
Yeah, me too.
See, but that's where I disagree with you. Like we've always joked about you as being the guy who like super focuses on one thing until you maybe lose interest in it and super laser focus on another thing.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe
that's what I'm getting at though. Is like.
But
Yeah, I mean, because that was my thought. Because I was so focused on just skiing, but then it broke into like snowboarding, then downhill biking, and then surfing. I kind of like, and those are all physical things, right?
Yeah.
But then now I kind of do. I feel like I'm scattered. As far as like, this isn't necessarily just a therapy session. It's more of a philosophy. Just the philosophy of like being scattered. Because I want to be good at all things. That's the thing. You're right in that I like to get good at things. You
like the journey
and the process to get good at. Yeah. And I know that, and that's where like the goddamn, the last thing we were doing with that Red Bull thing, I'd sent it to him. It was scattered. Like the singular focus was building a bunch of stuff. Remember, like building, that's the singular thing, but it was scattered over a bunch of stuff. And then I realized, as I literally 10 minutes before he got here, I was like, oh, my YouTube channel, as I know I'm already violating the number one concept of having it focused on one thing, and I already see it happening. I was like, I was doing just running, the triathlon training bullshit. I was doing that for I did 20 episodes. I don't know if you watched any of them.
Yeah, you just can't stick to one subject.
Yeah,
it's just you're just like, meh.
Yeah, I still like a little bit of running. I'm still doing these little micro things. But then I was like, then I got into the art. I'm like, it's just another thing. But as far as working the YouTube algorithm, it rewards being focused on a single thing. As far as getting good on any single thing or being a single thing, and it's just tough to
That's the interesting part of having an online persona. I think that if you want to have a successful online persona, you maybe pound one nail. Like people like to go to a source and identify it, right? This is my source for this, but where does everybody else fit in that has multiple interests and is an actual real human being?
Yeah. And that's where I remember.
Is it too real to just follow somebody's life and everything that entails in that, or do they just
Well, and that's where I'm convincing myself there is some focus by calling the channel Jake Young Alaska. Alaska's the focus because I happen to be here.
Because you're stuck here.
Yeah. Goddamn COVID. So Exactly. And then I was like, oh, I can interview people. So it's like, oh, art's in Alaska, ski's in Alaska. It's all just Alaska. So that's a focus. And if I can umbrella under that, whatever that means. But I keep, like I said, I keep shifting back to like, oh, podcasts, like I can interview, this person or that person. Like the second guy I did, never met him in real life, I met him off Facebook. And I'd seen him arguing with people. I'm like, oh, this is going to be fun to talk to. So that was interesting. And the guy Riley, I know him from ski coaching. He was supposed to be here tonight, but he got sucked into work. And he's trying to work him in as like the co-host scenario, just as a third person to talk to, just to mix it up, which may or may not be necessary.
It's good when you have a shitty guest. You
give
yourself a little co-host, it allows you to get a little research done. Maybe you can have somebody that's like, maybe flop a little time into the internet to check some facts, and you don't sound like an idiot.
What's his name? Conan O'Brien's Andy Richter.
Andy. Yeah. You need a little Andy.
Yeah. But anyway, I raced around. You saw the truck sitting out there.
It's
a lender for my parents, because literally, backtrack, did brakes on my truck last September, like new rotors, yay, $2,000 or $1,600, whatever it was, at Midas. Everyone, don't go to Midas, go to. I'm like, but it was next to the bread shop right there.
Yeah.
And I want to sit around. I'm sitting in this nice bread shop. That was literally, and it's a big chain store. I'm like, I believe it, whatever. And I'm not. I just want like wham bam, and I'll pay it. And Veza's like, go to this guy. He's way much better. But it's over in the ghetto, up down in the fucking ghetto. Like there's no coffee shops. There's no nothing. What am I gonna do? There's nowhere we can park. It looks like one of these shops that's just a junkyard that happens to be a shop at the same time. Just bad feng shui. I couldn't deal with it, so I go to Midas. Get the things done. Rotors, as it turns out. I said brake job. They just did the rotors and didn't do the calipers, as it turns out. Caliper blows up a month later, 2 months later, or something. It was like, overheats. I'm like, oh, they're calipers. So it's another $600 new calipers. That was in May. A month later, the left rear one blows up again. And I was like, it was under warranty. So there's a 1 year warranty on the work, which is nice. So I go back again. I'm like, hey, this caliper blew up again. This is like the third time. And they're like, oh, we'll replace it again. So this was June. And then all summer, since June, this is now September 3rd or whatever, it was like, it would get hot. Like I'd drive to the Merc, and it's hot, like steaming hot when I'm in a 2 mile drive because something's sticking. And I was guessing, it was like, oh, maybe it's the wheel bearing. But the wheel bearing would like go and just progressively get worse. It's not sticking, it's just going to like keep binding and then be done. Because I've had the wheel bearings go out on the front ends, right? Like, what happens, it's like, whoa, and it just gets worse in like within a day kind of thing. Anyway, so I go to town to do a bunch of runaround bullshit today, and then right at Bird Creek, I get out and I smell Hot Wheel. I'm like, ooh, I can smell it, that's bad. And I go, it's so hot now, like I can't even touch it, because I'd always touch it. I'm like, oh, fuck, and I'm just too lazy to go fucking back to Midas. So then, I'm like, that's hot. I'm like, whatever, it's been doing it all summer, it's fine. And then go all the way through Anchorage, and then drop kids off, and then my brother, actually, so backtrack, my brother yesterday broke down on the highway. His wheel bearing blew up on his trailer, towing a boat, boom. Or they had to do a rehab.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah, they had to do an axle rebuild this morning at Bird Creek.
Really?
Yeah, like the Bird Creek, whatever gas station. And then the week before, my dad's axle blew up on the truck. So they had both done it. I'm sitting there talking to my dad about it, what happened, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I go to leave, and as I'm leaving, I could see my left wheel, I could see the wheel from the inside, and I could see there's like a splatter of grease. I'm like, ooh, that's new. And I go get, and I go look, and I put my finger, and I'm like, ooh, is this brake fluid, or there's got to be a blown seal? It's got to be something. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm going home to Gertrude. I'm out of here. I'm sick of it. I'm just like leaving. And I like pull out around the block, out towards Diamond. And I'm like halfway. I'm like, bad idea. Don't do it. Don't do it. Like, you're already in town. You know it needs fixed. Like I had to do this full like mental like my brain wanted to just boogie out and cross my fingers. And I was like, don't do it. So I juked right back in, and I was like, quick, we need to do this right now. And it made sense. It was perfect timing. So they met me over there. I had to do the truck swap and whatnot. And I'm trying to get it all under goddamn warranty. Now I'll get the wheel bearing under warranty because the fucking caliper fucked it up. That's the plan. So anyway, that's what the truck's about.
Such a weird, ironic Ford brake story. I have a Ford F-150 pickup. It's currently having brake issues. My dad has a Ford F-250 pickup. It's like a 2008. Mine's a 2005.
Yeah, that white one.
Yeah, I've had that thing to town twice, and the past couple weeks to deal with the brakes on it, and then
What
I
is
come
it
over
doing?
here. You know, ultimately, the brake design on the Fords is that it's a one-sided. The pistons only squeeze in from one side of the caliper. Where like we know mountain bikes and fucking motorcycles and shit, and the pistons come in from both sides of the caliper and squeeze in on the disc.
Oh, really?
So this one only comes in from one side.
I didn't know that.
And so
'cause you can see the disc.
Yeah, and so how it compensates for having 100% of the pressure on one side of the rotor is it's a floating caliper. It floats on a bushing up here. So as it pushes in from one side, it slides over on the bushing to equal the pressure 50-50 on each side. When the grease dries up in that bushing, it pushes all of the caliper force into one side of the rotor, and it just eats the rotors alive. And like here, where they put salt on the highways and shit, like those things just get blasted. And
well, because I got all new rotors, and that left rear one that's having troubles, you can put my finger in on it, and I can feel there's a groove.
Yeah.
Or there's a ridge where it's been worn down from just getting pushed on.
And now you can check the back side of it, and if there's nothing on that side, then you know it's that bushing. If it's smooth on the back side. So.
Yeah, that was just classic bullshit. You see the fucking concrete barriers they put on the highway?
No.
You drove to town today? Or I think they're brand new, like a day old.
No.
They're like right at Beluga Point, like one turn, there's a row of concrete barriers, and it instantly feels better. You're like, oh, wow, that's nice.
Were you getting Jersey barriers on
the
like
Jersey barriers right down the center line.
Really?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, wow, they need to put them everywhere. Like I don't know why they don't. Like, there's probably a reason. Snow.
I think it would be the DOT themselves that has to do with clearing snow and dealing with that stuff. But as far as the safety concern is, like,
it seems like you just plow right along it, and it'd be like some. I could see that being weird if you're plowing down it and there's like a bunk up of shit piled on it, you know, and wants to tip into the road all the time. You know, a pile of snow this big on the top of the barrier falls over. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a civil engineer. I don't do road design.
But no, it was nice. It was like, oh, because it's just so funny because it's coming. As you know, it's cold out there today.
Oh yeah.
It was like September. Like this early. It feels like October temps potentially. You know. But yeah, the cold's coming. You know, you're driving the highway and like. Also, you're like, this is ice? Is this ice? You know, and you're like, then all winter it's ice, but then you're like, is it ice or not ice? You know? That's a game.
That took me down.
Ice or not ice?
Ice or not ice, yeah. When I was in high school, you know.
Oh,
is
yeah.
it ice or is it not ice?
You crashed?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, you maybe vaguely, you get your license, and then the highway between Girdwood and Anchorage is relatively dangerous per se, especially the old highway when you had to go up over the hill.
Yeah.
And so I remember I like bailed out early for school one morning, and I probably wasn't even going to school. I was probably going to my girlfriend's house or doing something I probably shouldn't have been doing before school, and so I get out of Girdwood to go up over the atrocious hill, and
yeah, that's crazy. We used to drive that.
Yeah, the freaking whole way. I'm like behind this jerk that's going like 30 miles an hour, and I probably like want to get to town to I don't know, whatever. And so as soon as we hit the flats, I go to make a pass, and I like lose the ascent on my pickup, and I clip the Subaru, and like we're just like both spinning out.
Oh my god!
End up in the ditch.
Is that little gold Ranger?
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny because right there, what was it, 2 years ago, I was driving town in my truck, and it was like where it was snowing. It was cold and snowy enough to where everyone was driving in the right lane, but the snow was piled up in the passing lane, but no one was driving in the passing lane just because it's enough to like, oh, don't even do it. And I stayed with them all the way to Bird Point, and we're doing 40, 45. I'm like, oh, this is killing me. Like, it was cold. You could tell, like, it was cold snow, so you could be kind of grippy. So then I went for the first pass, ready to come around Bird Point, and I'm the total asshole now who's like passing with this much pow, and it's like blowing up behind you, right? Like the dust cloud. And everyone's like, fuck this guy, as I'm passing, and I was like, oh, I'm going to make a clean getaway. I'm going to get in the lane and I'll be able to boogie out, kind of pin it across the flats, get some distance. and then I'll be gone, and we'll forget about it. But as I go to like pin it in the distance, literally we hit a warm line. It got warm.
Yeah.
So it went from sticky ice to like not sticky ice, and as I'm like, oh, trying to pull in, the diesel's got power and it wants to kick out the back end, and it's woo, and it's a full like woo, like fishtail. I was like, whoo, got it back. Oh no, like that's super icy, and they're right behind me now. The whole train of people who hates me is right behind me.
They're just waiting. They're just like
so I'm the ass
waiting for you to crash.
Yeah,
like,
so I'm the ass who passes and dusts them out, then spins out hard enough to where I know they saw it. A couple of them saw it, or the guy right there at least. I'm like, ooh, that's slippery. So I'm like, trying to ease away. It's like, oh, now I just got to get away from it. Like, ease it away, but slippery, slippery. Then it just got worse, progressively worse, to where it was just like wet, fucking bad ice all the way to town. And they followed me. They were like 20 seconds behind me at O'Malley, the one guy. I just felt like a dick.
Yeah, the new section of highway, like, I think it opened when we were in high school. I think I vaguely remember just like going to town one morning, and we like went to school.
They were working on it at least.
Up over the hill, and then like one day that we came home on the bus, and it was like, oh, this was trippy.
I remember that. I remember being down there when me and Abe scootered to Girdwood. Like we'd go, because once we found out that road service down there for like that year, it was just a road service, and like we were biking out there and stuff, and when we had scootered, we didn't want to go over the old road, so we like drug the scooters across the muddy ditch, and then climbed up on the road, and that's when Abe had a cast on. I was actually asking about that, and he's walking through the mud with his cast on, hauling a scooter. Anyway, I think the cast fell apart there a couple days later.
Yes. Yeah.
I did type up a bunch of Abe stories. I'll read it at some point. It'll be funny to read them all to you, like get your reaction.
Oh man, like that's so funny. Like he is like, I guess it really is true. You can live a life of many experiences and die early and still have a very full life.
I was thinking, well, that was like the first week I got driver's license. You weren't in the car, it was just me and Abe, and then we got pulled over. I got pulled over for speed. No, I got pulled over because there was like the two girls that were missing, or there was like runaway girls.
I remember we got pulled over in your Suburban.
You might have been in the car.
And it was
oh, you were in the car.
You and me, and then like there was like Katie and Amy Seifert and Abe, and we got
when they
pulled
thought he was a
over
girl?
at like McHugh Creek.
Yes.
And, like they were like checked all over IDs,
and they're like, "Are you a boy or a girl?" He was like, "I'm a boy."
Which at the time you're just like, this is fucking ridiculous, you're 16 years old, but now looking back at it, like, I was in the liquor store today, and there was some chick in there, I was just like, of course we all have masks on, so I was just like, she looks like she's 12, Like,
yeah, we look like a car full of, like, 12-year-olds,
like
basically.
8-year-olds.
And Abe was, like, probably this big, and they're like, "Are you a boy or a girl?" He's like, "I'm a boy." Well, he looked like crazy.
That was so fun.
Or when we drove, I remember driving to town in Amy's car for some reason. She was driving over the old road in auto drive with sitting cross-legged in the driver's seat. I can remember looking over and I'm like, "You're sitting cross-legged?" Like,
you're like, "Oh, cruise control cross-legged." You're like, "That's sweet."
Oh, the highway of death. I'm like, you shouldn't do that. Or then one time, I was driving with Todd in my Subaru. Todd's on the list. I got in this list of fucking podcast people. But he was in the car asleep in my Subaru. And the Subarus are funny because they're not real-world back-wheel drive. So they're really hard to get the ass in and kick out.
Yeah.
And I remember his Bird Point, same old thing, and he was dead asleep. It was like daytime. I don't know why he was sleeping. He was tired, I guess. We were teenagers. And did a full power drift. And I did the full double counter steer, like, oh God. And then brought it back. And I look at Todd, he's still asleep, and like, oh my God, like, don't even stop. It was right where, remember how the road went into that, what is it, a tunnel, or like not a tunnel, a valley, right there as you're coming south. Right at Bird Point, there's that old chunk through the rocks. Or it's the entryway to the parking lot now.
Yeah.
Like that used to be the thing.
Yeah, old.
And then you're like climbing up the hill and
Yeah, dude, that's like where I got in my accident. It's right on the other side of it.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what gets people on the Seward Highway is like those little temperature changes when it's like, oh, it's all good, and then it's just like, well, you come around the corner and it's like, oh, the Bird Creek Bridge, it's all slick.
Yeah. And that was the number one function on my truck that I love that's dead for some reason is the temperature gauge up here.
Yeah.
It tells you the temperature. And I loved it. And it went out after a couple of years. It stopped working. I was like, oh, it's a fuse. It's a simple thing. But apparently it's not. It's the whole fucking unit. I'm like, it's got to be just a fuse, like, for this just to not be working. It probably is. It's years later. It probably is. I, at some point, thought it wasn't, because I looked it up. Like on YouTube, I was like, how do I do this? And they're like, oh no, you got to take it in. It's that whole upper console needs to be replaced. I'm like, that seems like the stupidest thing ever. But it's the most handy function, because you're like, oh, it's 37. I'm like, I'm assuming it's slick. But then that's the thing. It can be 37 for the last 10 minutes, and it's still ice that's now wet, versus it's 37 pouring rain. You know, is this dry? Is this wet pavement and eyeballing what? And then you go to Hawaii, then it's like dry to wet, like the level of badness or whatever. You're like, wet pavement. Oh, this could be slippery. But there it is, because the fucking tropical mildew and shit. You know, the concrete does get a little
slimy, little slime on it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's like crosses all over the place on those roads. Like you're like, oh, someone died here, someone died here. And there's one night I remember driving in our little car, and we had a friend, Pando. I don't know if you ever met Pando.
Oh yeah.
He was there visiting with Shane and them, and he was in the very back, and I was driving, and I wasn't speeding, but it's a little zippy car. It's fun to drive fast, but we were heavy because we had this extra 250-pound dude in the back, and I remember a couple times I'm like coming to the corner, like, and I knew the road, and I remember the one I was in, you know, there's me, wife, 2 kids, and the dude in the very back. And I remember one corner I was like, ooh, that feels a little, oh, like, just like, yeah, I see how you could, like, lose it. And I was like, slow it down, like, that'd be so shitty to, like, so quick it happens. Oh yeah, one time on that road, talking about another highway of death, because that highway, South Dakota, is fucking gnarly. I never told you about this. What was it? We were driving south, and here's how it worked. Here's the problem with it. I don't know if you recall it enough to, it's really twisty, like, and then it hits these straightaways, like on the south end of the island. There's like long, 10-mile long straight, not 10, 5-mile long straightaways. Anyway, we were coming south through the twisties, and right before we hit the straightaway, there's a dude in a rental Mustang coming the other direction, and all I see is him coming out of a fishtail on the outside of the shoulder, and I'm over here in my lane. He's on the outside of his shoulder fishtailing, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna fishtail this way now. Fishtail like this, and he's like literally doing a think sideways fish, like this far in front of me. I'm like, here it comes, like fishtail into my face, and he just like hooked up, and then like recovered. And like my only move was gonna be, it was a half second. I was gonna be like, oh, let's hope we can like duck under, because his ass end was gonna like come up. You could see his ass end was like coming up because the rear power. He basically just does. He was hauling ass across the flats. Yeah. Came into the first turns and was like, oh shit, I'm going too fast. And we were right there, like, dude, Mustang, like cooked up, but that was gonna be my move. I was gonna try to squeeze on the shoulder underneath it. I saw that. I was like, there's the line. This could be it. But I was gonna duck too because I knew it was gonna like take off through the top of the cab. But it didn't. So that was good. No one saw it except me. Benson was like looking at the thing, and no one saw it. The whole family was like, la la la, and I was just like, you guys, like, it was a close one. Anyway, I'm ranting.
It's such a crazy concept, you know, like
how close you can get.
Yeah. Well, you know, yeah. Like, I mean,
what do we got here?
Oh, you got your whole notebook. I'm gonna get another beer. It's Greedy trying to call me.
Greedy?
Yeah.
See, oh yeah, you told me he was up to. He's in town then, downtown still? Or where did you move to?
Yeah, he's just being greedy. He's just like, you know, relatively just to.
So we can tag him now, be like, Greedy, shout out.
Yeah.
Doing shout outs. Girdwood shout outs. What do my notes say? Well, I was thinking action sports versus endurance versus team. YouTube technology focused on, well, yeah, focused versus all trades.
Here's a good place to start, Jake.
What?
So, I've known you since high school.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was probably, what, 95 or 90, probably 96.
Mm-hmm.
And I met you because
Pause 1 second. You know who I just friended on Strava is John Clark. JC, anyway, go on.
Oh, wow.
He's killing it still. He biked 120 miles the other day. He bikes like 500 miles a week.
Surprised me. I wonder if he still drinks Diet Coke and pounds fucking Whoppers. Like,
I thought you were going to give a name, like pounds who? I'm like, anyway, go on.
Go on. I'm not that cool. But that guy would like, he drinks like Whoppers. And,
Really?
oh yeah, I mean, I don't want to hate on the guy and say he had a horrible diet, but like that was kind of reassuring in high school because he was a hard ass man. Like I just remember being in high school and our cross country and track coach being at meets, and other coaches would be like, yeah man, like you run for that John Clark guy, like yeah, sorry, like wish you had a little fun or whatever.
Oh, was he a hard ass? I didn't really realize
he was a college level coach that coached high school athletics, you know? And I think like if either one of us gave two shits about like going and like running or doing whatever we were doing at the collegiate level, he would have been a good coach to have. Yes, there wasn't a lot of fucking around on his watch for sure. Like he like kind of clipped all that nonsense. We didn't have a lot of like we didn't play a lot of soccer on Wednesdays or anything. Like it was just like intervals and like run you into the ground kind of shit, right? And we thought that was normal.
Yeah, I know. I never really realized because I was thinking back to like my baseball coach was the same way, like hardcore. He ruined baseball for me actually because he was like fucking too hardcore. Anyway, sorry I detracted you. You were saying high school.
No. But yeah, no. That's where we met. Which in this town, like out of all the people, I mean, I know there's a few kids that around here that I grew up with longer than you, obviously, that still live.
I'm going to Brooks Whitney's kid's birthday party tomorrow.
Yeah, like Whit. There's a few other ones poking around still. But you and Tori Dugan had a wilderness rec class. You had some fucking class together.
Yeah.
And I just remember being in high school and I'm in fucking math class and you guys are mountain biking. Like I just was like so blown away and so pissed. I was so fucking mad. Like, and like Tori's would be like, yeah, there's this kid there, and it's like he's actually like a pretty good athlete. And then like I met you, and then like I think I always will never forget that like where my real first impressions of you was skiing with you on Alyeska, and how dumb you were as a teenager skiing on the hill, and you would just like huck your body off of anything, like
really,
and like do 360s and land in the flat, and your skis would like explode off. You were just like yeah, put your shit on. We were like, this kid is ridiculous. Like I remember the first day I ever skied with you. It was like
was it nice skiing? I remember skiing with Abe. I remember seeing Abe ski for the first time. We were in Style Hung. It was night skiing. It was like, there used to be big mogul bumps.
Yeah.
And I remember he was like cruising, like GS turning through all the moguls, like ignoring the mogul line, right? And I remember like struck me. Then I realized how he copied his brother Gabe, kind of had the same style. It was the first time he was on his little Dina Star G9s, maybe.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's so funny. And I always tell people how I infiltrated like the Girdwood posse. I was the only Anchorage person to like infiltrate you guys as you'd gone to Diamond. There was a few, I guess, but
I mean
there was different Girdwood posses.
It wasn't that we were infiltrated. We were just a bunch of kids that grew up in Girdwood that were like. Some of us were more scared than others to go to high school, and yeah, like you go to this little tiny school and you're a K through 8. By the time you're like 14 years old, you're still in a school. You're going to school with fucking children in this town. Like that's really
true.
It's like kind of weird. And then there's children in your school, and then the next year you're in high school.
Yeah.
You get on the bus, you go to school, and once again you're the small fish. And like at Diamond, there was like what 2,300 kids that went to that school at the time. Yeah. And so like all you kids that went to Mears and came up through the Anchorage school system, like it was no thing to you. Like oh yeah, whatever.
Mears was a shock. I hated Mears.
Yeah.
Because like my same thing. I was in a little school and. From kindergarten to 6th, so I knew everyone within the school, and then even within the school, I was in like one of these alternative learning things where like basically it was the 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, 5th and 6th grade classes were all side by side, and they're open. It was called open something potential learn something, but then the 3 teachers, and there was only 3 teachers, so it was all a comprehensive thing. And it wasn't even a real school thing in that, right? I would read so many. I would just read. My parents kind of would be like, "Is you getting any education here?" I would go to school some days, and the teachers would be like, "Yeah, you guys can just read all day." Like, I would just fucking read, or we'd like play checkers, or then do whatever. And it was awesome in retrospect. But then I went to Mears. It was like prison. I felt like it was like.
Mears is like a prison.
It is. It's shaped like a big
It's just totally like every time I went in that school, I was like, oh my god.
And the security lady's name was Miss Hobson, and there was like I remember just the feeling of like lockdown. I was like, childhood's over. This is lockdown. This is crazy, and like, I think they have to do that. I think it's part of the fucking system. It's a way to like get you kids going. And then Diamond was way less of a transition, like you said. But yeah, from your point, that's interesting. Like, I remember, yeah, Mears was fucking...
Well, I mean, for me, that was, like, a lot of the motivation to, like, shit, maybe I should do a sport or something, you know, because, like, sports started a month earlier than school, so at least you, like, kind of knew a couple people before you know, went in there. It was, like, I don't know, you know, it's fucking...
Yeah.
It's just, like, this weird thing. You're like, okay, there's 17 of us that are set loose. It's, like... You're like, you feel like you're like a minnow in a bass pond, like somebody's just gonna swallow you whole.
Like, well, then I see you guys, and you guys, I was obsessed with Girdwood since I was age 7, though. Age 7, I was like, Girdwood, magical fucking place. Because I remember going to, was that you was here the other day? We're talking about the name of the, oh, it was Sean I was talking to. But remember where the bake shop is, down where Jack Spratt is, there was a little Edelweiss. It was like a little...
Yeah, it used to be a
bakery German thing.
Yeah.
But I remember I was like 8 or 9 with my buddy, and we got dropped off. You know, thinking back as well, like getting dropped off by your parents from Anchorage, like that's all I would do is like coordinate with my friends. Like, all right, my mom will drive us down if your mom picks us up, and then all week do chores to do enough money to get the lift ticket, which was like $12 or $15. And but I remember we went to that Edelweiss, and it was all snowing and Girdwood, because you know the way Girdwood's all rainforesty.
Yeah.
Coming from Anchorage, and it smells different, and I remember it just stuck with me in the bake shop. I was like, this place is magical. So then high school, you know, 10 years later, then I was like, you guys live there? You guys have season passes? Actually, you're the first person I've met who had a season pass. I was like, the season pass? Like, I couldn't even comprehend that it even existed, that you could, like, go skiing every day. And you guys were like, oh yeah, we go after school, or whatever, or one, I remember, you're talking about being mad I was in a bike class, or whatever. Remember the day, it was the avalanche. You guys had an avalanche and couldn't get to school.
Oh, yeah,
and everyone went skiing.
We're stuck on this side.
It's like, oh my god. Well, no, it was when we were in high school and you guys were stuck on this side and you all went skiing and I was still in school. Yeah. I was like, motherfuckers. Like, or yeah, then years later when I was stuck during the goddamn Stumpy Storm. It was horrible. That was the worst.
That was just a clusterfuck. There was nothing to enjoy in that.
I remember literally being on the phone with like Ryan. I'm like, what are you guys doing? What's happening? And he's like yelling at someone. I hear like gunshots and snow machines and yelling and click. I'm like, oh my god, they're having so much fun. And I'm like sitting with Katie at my parents' house. We ended up getting a hotel, which wasn't as cool as you would think. You like yelling?
Sounds like kids.
Like bear.
Dying kids.
The sun went down. This is the dying days of summer. It's not even summer anymore.
No, it's like the past week, it's just like, we had that rainstorm and now it's like, oh, now it's cold. Okay. You're like, alright, it's off. It's over.
I pulled out my warm hoodie, you know, because your summer attire changes. And you have all these warm clothes. You're like, oh, there's my warm hoodie. Oh, there's my warm hat. You're like, oh, yay. And you like change your uniform.
You finally put your stocking cap on for the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been wearing a buff. I got hooked on the buff, actually. The buff is a hat. It's like my favorite. And hoodies. I swear, like, I had a thing against hoods, I think, until about age, like, 30. I don't know why. I don't know. It's insane.
You had something against hoods?
Yeah, like, I think it came from Mears, actually. I think, like, I remember, like, seeing kids with hoodies, and they always look like, you know, slack-jawed skaters, because they're also wearing the pants down here, and I seriously never had a hooded jacket for fucking ever, and then never wore a hoodie. A cotton hoodie is like the best thing ever now. I always wear it.
Yeah, definitely I mean, in a place where we have the bugs like we do, and you want to just keep the mosquitoes off, like where all you have to worry about is this in your hands, like that's pretty classic.
Yeah, it's amazing how many times, like, even now, I'm like, oh, I can put my hoodie on, and it's like this little safety thing.
Yeah.
But I'm wearing a collared shirt tucked into this fucking weird shirt.
You're just like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I live with a merc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why the masks are kind of nice.
The mask.
Sunglasses, I wore sunglasses.
Man, I went to ShareFi the other day. I had a $100 gift certificate. I did some work and I got this gift certificate. So I'm like, oh shit. I've had it forever, and then we can go dine in again. So I was like, all right, there's probably nobody down there.
Oh, you can go inside now.
Yeah, you can go inside. So I have this $100 gift certificate. Haley and I, we go down, sit down, and we're like eating, and this kid goes by and like goes to the shitters, and he like totally like eyes me down. He's got this mask on, and he like goes into the bathroom, and like I didn't really think anything of it. I'm like,
oh, you didn't have a mask on.
Well, I didn't. I'm eating like in the restaurant. But so like, and then he comes out and walks by me, and he stops at the table, and he goes like, "Hey man, like, were you on this this like Polaris snowmobile shoot and like in Wyoming in December?" Like, and I was like, I felt kind of rude because at first I just was like not expecting to, and I was like, oh yeah, I was there, and so the guy's like, right on, and then I'm looking at him, and I wanted.
He's got a mask on still.
Exactly.
But he sees
I wanted
your face.
to. I have no mask on, and
Yeah.
the guy can clearly recognize me,
Yeah.
and he's like calls me out, and like I so like just want to recognize the guy so I can like, and it was so weird that I couldn't like be personable with this guy because I couldn't see his face, you know, and it almost turned into this awkward interaction because he was like recognized me, was enthusiastic to see me, and just because I couldn't see his face, like I like ended up feeling like I gave him this awkward interaction.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just a weirdo. Maybe I was stoned. Maybe I had like a couple beers. I don't know what the problem was, but I was just like. So you call me out like you know me, and then
Did he take his mask
and
off?
then, like, no, he never took his mask off.
Did he say who he was?
No, he never said who he was. So I just left in the situation I'm like, yeah, I was there, and he's like, right on, man. And then I was like, oh, what are you doing in Girdwood? And like we had this little conversation, but then it's just like the mask never came off, and I was like,
that's funny.
huh.
Well, the opposite of that is having a beard and meeting people with a beard, and then shaving. And I had it hardcore. Actually, the worst ever was when I had gone off to Smithers. I had a beard. I let it go to like wherever, but I'd met everyone with a beard in the entire town. And then I shaved it like 6 months later, and literally I remember walking up everywhere I went. I had to be like, "Oh hi, I'm Jake," and they're like, "Whoa!" Because no one recognized me because it looked so different. And feeling like a ghost, literally going by on someone on the side of the street, and they look, and I'm like, oh, they don't even recognize me at all. Like, it was kind of liberating. It was interesting. And, it's an experiment I can do, growing a beard here and there. But how often am I meeting new people and doing that?
Yeah.
But what did I watch the other day? Oh, it was some guy. It was some dad. It was a random video. It was a dad talking about his kid playing football. And they played a football game in Texas or wherever, and they're without masks. And for an hour and a half, they're biting and sweating over and spitting on each other, football, like getting in each other's faces. And at the very end of the game, they weren't allowed to handshake. The two teams go by and handshake. They weren't allowed to because of COVID, which is kind of funny. And the other one I heard about, you heard about this is epically odd, is the California's doing it, and I guess North Carolina's doing it, but they have, schools are shut down, but they're reopening education centers, and they're charging people like $150 a week at the same schools. So they're like, school shut down, COVID's a problem. And then they're like, oh, but you can go to the re-education center.
Oh yeah.
And like pay $150 a month, a week.
You knew that was going to happen. I mean,
That's insane.
I had even noticed that in our little community. As soon as kids have to go back to school and people need to go back to work, like there's talk of like, oh, maybe all of our kids go over to this person's house and
well, yeah,
like do all their schooling over there, and one parent watches like 6 kids. But like, I mean, it's
like inevitable. Like,
it's totally inevitable, and it's like how
it is happening. I already know it is just by hearing about it.
It totally, absolutely is. But then it's like, you know.
But then it makes you wonder. I mean, that was my theory. Like the whole defund the police thing would turn into like privatized police. You know, they'd be like, oh, we don't have police, but like, oh, but we'll hire this really special police force, and it's gonna cost them so much money. I mean, that hasn't happened yet. But it's hard to say where we're going. I listened to an interesting video yesterday. It was this guy, Dave Rubin. He has a whatever YouTube talk show thing, and he got off the grid for a month. I guess every year he goes off grid for a month and just doesn't pay attention to anything, like unplugs. And then his first show was yesterday, and this other guy was interviewing him, and it was just really fascinating to listen to a 1 month summary as spit to the other guy, and they're both, you know, on the conservative end of things. And it was just fascinating to hear everything that's happening. You're like, that happened, that was, you know, it goes through both the conventions and then the Kenosha thing and and you're like, oh my god, and then just when you hear the general insanity packed into like a short time, you're like, it's just insane as our new normal keeps like escalating.
Oh yeah, like people's, you know, the access to information and then the demand for it, like people want information.
Yeah, so we're addicted to it. Like, I'm addicted to it.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember that, so like, I mean, I don't know what's a good example, like, let me think. Okay, so yeah, the 94 Lillehammer Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
So, fucking, you know, local ski hero Tommy Moe, he wins gold at the 94 Lillehammer Olympics. Now, to get the most current updated information on the Lillehammer 94 Olympics, you had to fucking call this 1-800 number, dial like 19462, and then you could hear like what the results to the downhill was.
You did that, or you knew it? Like, you knew
Yeah,
this at the time?
we did.
Oh, yeah.
We did. Like, we knew this at the time, that, you know, that you could hear this shit, and like, because everybody wanted to know, you know, the local kids in the Olympics, and then people are dialing this number, and because you didn't want to wait till the next day or till the news or
so then slowly people would find out by a phone call.
Yeah, so now, like, you know, what does that do to COVID when people don't get information till 24 hours or 48 hours delayed? Like, we get, you know, any fucking article we read anymore is like posted an hour ago, posted 2 hours ago, 6 hours ago, 48 minutes ago. I mean, like, that delay of information, like, there's an upside and a downside to it, right? There's a filter there, like, like, you get pissed at somebody, you give yourself 48 hours. How do you feel about that 48 hours later? Or how do you feel about that, the absolute minute that it happened, and the information's not complete, and you're included at that point, you know?
Yeah, you're getting like, because they're all trying to stay ahead of each other.
You look at the fucking news, and it's just like this convoluted, like, to keep you watching till they actually get the facts, which they never do.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 but, you know, we just wait and see, you know,
like
we don't know,
and
sources say, you know, it's like, it's a bunch of bullshit, and then it's like, and then what, like, one fact pops up, like, 45 minutes later, they're just, like, trying to keep you watching.
Yeah. Or then how everything's, like, so fragmented from like different, which is kind of handy, I guess, if you know the source. You know, if you know the source is left wing versus right wing or whatever. And I try to know those things and try to give them credibility. Knowing that's the biggest thing when you know, like, you know, Fox is coming from the right, and I think that's the difference is, you know it is, and I know it is, but I know the left is coming from the left. Where I think a lot of people don't realize that the other stuff's coming from. There's a anti, you know, whatever.
So how do you, like? I mean, this is my amusement, right? Like, you go, and I will, if I'm going to click and look at a ticker from CNN, if I click on CNN.com and look at all their shit, which, like, I do frequently, I look at CNN, even though it's garbage, and it's all this, like, you know, it's all this, like, this all agenda bullshit, but if it's always fun to look at, and then you go click on Fox News, like, immediately after, and it's like, you know, if you look at the two, do you get to the middle by doing that? Or, I mean, do you just consume, like, massive amounts of bullshit on both sides and you never figure out what goes on? Like, how, you know, where are you getting if you want to see both sides? Do you get to the middle, or is the middle just the fucking donut? Like, you know, it's just this hole. It's a black hole.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was getting into with Andy a bit. I was just, like, going on, you know, people have become more polarized, obviously, and talking about Trump, whether he's good or bad, even if he's doing the greatest policies ever, like, even if I could be like, he's actually really great, he's still extremely divisive. He still has divided America. Like, everyone fucking hates him. Like, half the people hate him, half the people love him, or they just don't hate him. And that's where I kind of fit in. I kind of just don't hate him, so I can be critical of the people who do just mindlessly hate him, because he does do good stuff, but he has hateable qualities, right? I'm kind of I think I'm kind of in the middle, like, personally, but these people, you know, and that's part of why I started a podcast. It actually, well, it's the reason, instead of just arguing with people on Facebook, like, and you waited, you know, right? You can, like, the texting, you're losing so much nuance and meaning and whatever, and that's part of us falling to the fucking internet in the first place. It's taken away in COVID, there's no personal conversations, right? So I'm trying to force personal conversations for my own sanity, and your sanity too, maybe.
Yeah, maybe my sanity too, absolutely.
I gotta check this, I gotta pee, actually.
Yeah, piss break.
Piss break. Bobo! No, you chill. Get out of here. You want to trade seats?
Yeah. Power position?
Power position. Ooh, that light's kind of right in my face, huh?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, no shit. My face for fucking. Anyway, me and Andy were saying that. I think it's recording. Just polarity. How people are being polarized by Trump. Like, well, his theory, I don't know if you watched it, but saying how it's for the ultimate good. Like, people are polarizing into these things and bringing up all these bad issues, you know, as a group of people, Americans or whatever, and then they got to work through the issues in order to, like, move on, which I agree with. Like, there's obviously some deep-seated issues. You can't not say, you know, I guess, like, there's racism and this, the inequalities don't exist, because obviously these people think it exists. Someone thinks it does.
Yeah, you know, there's you know, for me, it's like, it's a step back to the very basic people.
Wow, is Bobo really whining? Sorry.
He's really whining? What's his problem? Is he just
gonna stop? Well, now he knows we're in here for some reason. I shouldn't bring him in here. That would be a problem. He'll stop.
Just quiet for a second and he stops.
Okay, go on.
The dog. Sorry. No, man, like, so I think that there's a dream in this country that, like, everybody wants to think that, like, the everyday man's gonna save us from the politician, which the politician is kind of the lawyer. I mean, you have to understand the law to be a good politician. Mm-hmm. And I think that, like, that dream that there's an everyday man out there that's going to make that great politician that everybody, like
you're going to vote him in, or because people always say, like, they work for us.
Yeah, they're going to work for them. We're going to drain the swamp. We're, you know, all of this political bullshit, all of this, like, this game that these people play, and we're going to cut through this, and the person that's going to do this is just going to be, you know, somebody that doesn't have any experience is going to be that everyday man. And so when somebody like Donald Trump, who personally, like, has hundreds of millions of dollars worth of marketing dumped into him, his name, his Trump name, his television show, how much money, hundreds of millions of dollars, you gotta say, in marketing for his name before he even decides to run for president. And now you see other motherfuckers trying to do the same thing. I'm Kanye West.
I was just gonna say Kanye
I'm gonna run
West.
for fucking president.
I was seriously, like, it was on the tip of my tongue. I was like, oh, Kanye West.
Yeah, like, you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Like, now if the American people are like, if they want to, like, start taking to this game, for the next person that has had yay much money and marketing dumped into them, that wants to play the I'm the everyday man, and I'm going to step in as an idiot and solve all these problems. Like, I think we have a dangerous road ahead of us.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and so like that's the scary thing about Donald Trump. Does Donald Trump represent that, or did Donald Trump get elected because a vote for Donald Trump was not a vote for Hillary? And in a way, like, maybe that was the case. Like, voting for Donald Trump was just not voting for Hillary.
It's surprising. And I honestly didn't hate Hillary that much. I was like,
but a lot of people do.
I didn't realize that.
A lot of people do.
And a lot of people, even if I get caught just not defending Trump, but by being like, hey, this story about Trump is actually not real. That's what I find myself doing, is like, I don't like Trump, necessarily. He's a fucking asshole. But I'm like, well, this story's just not true. That's all I'm getting at, is like, your story's not true, that's all. But then backtracking, they assume, you must have hated Obama. It's like, no, I thought Obama was great. He was a black dude, like, who got elected. Yay, racism's over. That's literally what I thought. Racism's over. Yay, black dude. Yay, everyone's happy, because this was following immediately after the 8 years of Bush. Remember fucking people spazzing on Bush for 8 years straight. Bush is evil, and you're like, oh my god, this is exhausting.
No, people would take Bush back. People would buy a Bush.
Yeah.
Like a 12-pack.
They hated Bush. Remember, the hatred Bush was kind of like a level 7 or 8 in retrospect. Trump's the now a 10.
Yeah.
Where it used to be Bush was that, you know, everyone loved Obama, you know, and then Clinton was kind of before I was even paying attention. But, you know, Obama got in, I was like, yeah, great. And when Hillary was running, I was like, I could easily, you know, at the time I was like, you know, Trump's a loose cannon out here, that might be interesting. Bernie Sanders is a loose cannon. I had like equal interest in Bernie or both of them, right? I was like, oh, these guys are both kind of loose cannons. They'll shake up the system, you know, thinking the system needs to be shaken up. And I honestly could go either way. And then Hillary, I was like, oh, a chick will get in. I shouldn't say a chick, you know, that's racist apparently. It's not racist. It's like, I was happy. I would have been happy if Hillary got in, because everyone would be like, yay! Like,
maybe from an Alaska point of view, where we're kind of like, I think that like us being a separatist state, where we physically are separatists, that maybe we have some state pride, and like, you know, seeing some politicians from Arkansas, you know, they end up in the White House and then they leave, and then one of them now is like, oh, you know, let's I want to get in the Senate, and so, hey, maybe I'm going to run in New York, like. And the same shit happens in this state. Like, we get people who run for fucking office, and you're like, who is this guy? They're not from Alaska. They've been here for, like, they're a resident. They've been here for 6 months or 12 months. And, like, do they win? It's a very big concern for the people in this state, is how much a person understands the problems to it and how long they've lived here. And like, that was really some of the problem with Hillary Clinton, is that she chose to come from one state and then run in another state, and it's like, you know, like, I think for people here where we're from, like, there's a big, like, I mean, you're playing a game there a little bit, like, you gotta find a group of people and represent them.
Yeah, which is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, which you're supposed to do. In
Alaska we are, and we forget we're off in the boonies.
Which, I mean, on the other side, like, how long ago was Donald Trump considered himself a Democrat, and now he's a Republican too? So it's like, I mean, we all get a chance to change our minds in our lives, but it becomes very confusing for the general public in like a very quick time when you don't stick with the people you choose to represent. You know, when you abandon them and then you switch to the other team, or you switch a state, or you switch a whatever, like,
yeah,
you know, and that's what we live in now. Is like, you know, our parents grew up in a time when, like, you might work a job, like you might work for one employer, you might live in one town your entire life. Now we move around, and now we might have multiple jobs in our life, and now we might have, you know, like, things are just
accelerating
at a massive rate. And so at what point does that, like, stop, I guess, right?
I think it's stop. I think it's like keep accelerating. I mean, well, that's where, I mean, back to what Andy was saying, everyone's polarized, and it's gonna, I don't know. And that was actually what I was thinking of, you know, because you can think political level, and that's what the gist of our last I was talking to Andy, I had listed like levels of logic. I was thinking of like, you know, you have emotional logic, rational logic, and then like spiritual logic, or expansive logic, which is kind of congruent with like conspiratorial logic. You know, with conspiracy you can start, you know, you kind of seems like there's a hierarchy of what you're thinking about, you know, because you can be like, and that's what my point was, my understanding was like, back to where we were talking about skiing, you know, we were so high, like, this was the center of the universe, like, Earth was the center of the universe, so high all the time, like, what were we doing, just like, we're fucking young little kids just given keys to the kingdom, like, go up a mountain anywhere, children, and don't die, like, our parents, like, we could do whatever, which is insane, in retrospect, to the average 16-year-old kid in America or the entire world, we were so high, just like, let's go hike back, like, you sledding down Max's, I remember you said you had that red sled thing, I'm like, oh, Tom sledded down Max's, or like, I sledded down Trapline. You know, objectively that's insane, but that was our daily activity after school. Anyway, I was high, and then when I ran off to Canada, it was like a descent into like duality, politics. I fell into politics, and I didn't want to. It just happened. You know, catalyzed by meeting Vesna. You know, as things go, and that's fine. But I remember literally, and there's pictures of me like when we were in Smithers. I remember feeling like a hollow, depressed shell. Like, it was a bad time. It was a full nervous breakdown, but I had descended to like, because like, I had put so much into to talk about being focused or not. Like, go ahead.
To get at you, when I sent you that text the other day, and it was all of those mini DV tapes.
Oh, yeah.
From, like, there's like, you know, from our ski movies, from Scratch the Surface back then. But one tape in particular is the Frogger tape from and on the Frogger tape is essentially a whole day of Abe wandering around narrating.
Yeah.
And one of the things
I remember
that he does is he talks to, I know he talks to Vesna, but maybe both of you.
Oh my God.
And you guys were living at Bishop's in the trailer. And you're like packing your shit up and going to Canada because the bush or whatever. It was like, and it's on this tape, and that's when I was like texting you. I'm like, dude, do you have a mini DV camera?
Oh my God, I bet it's so horrible. Like,
and
I watched,
like, and I'm sure there's a ton of horrible shit on this tape.
Yeah.
but yeah, that was one of the things that I wanted to see. Was I was like, oh man, there's like. It's so funny that we, as kids, we were so wrapped up in our skiing, you know, and it's like we wanted to film our skiing and we were so proud of that because that was like our form of expression, and then you get to be like 40 years old, and now I want to go back and look through these tapes to see my friends, you know, and like all the fun that they were having back then. I don't give a fuck about the skiing. I've seen the skiing 100 times, but I want to see you, and I want to see Abe, and I want to see all of my friends, like, and all the shit that we cut out of the movies that people watch. That's the shit I want to watch.
Well,
all the shit we cut out, you know.
Well, what's so insane is I think YouTube now or whatever, and you literally 20 years ago, and then I remember filming skiing, and I wouldn't even touch the record button until they were going.
Yeah.
You know, like Mark said, because you know the tape space was a limited commodity.
Absolutely.
And you know, that was all about like
$4 or $8
a
tape.
Either an hour a tape or whatever, or some of them were half hour or whatever. So it was all about quality. You know, which was
not only that, but it took time to capture that tape, right? Like you sat down and had to capture those fucking things.
It was like playing, capture. Now it's like push a button.
In, out.
And I remember like even way. It was like 2003 or 4 when the first chip technology was coming out. You hear about it, you're like, oh, that seems weird. Like, what could they really get? But it was really low resolution, low megabytes, whatever. And, you know, that was the beginning of the technology. But it's so funny just thinking back to now vlogging, whatever, it's like filming everything, like literally everything. And that's where it's not really a regret, but I'm like, wow, in retrospect, to what you'd always said about webisodes becoming a thing, because you called them webisodes, now it's like fucking all of YouTube.
Yeah, it's just posting on YouTube.
It is what it is now, where at the time it was very like, what? You know, and you're like, no, don't film for an entire year to make 1 hour movie that had X amount of return, Like, the business model was like changing.
the business model, like, I think, like, yeah, there was some recognition of how things were changing that way early, but it's still skiing, dude. Nobody gives a shit about skiing.
Well, so my second thought was, that's literally,
so like,
yeah, my next thought was like, this whole center of the universe was like, Gerd was the center of the universe, whatever, and then there's TGR and Matchstick, you know, and then Powder Magazine and Ski, like, think of it, literally, that's the ski industry, and Warren Miller has named it all, basically. If you're not in Warren Miller, TGR, Matchstick, Powder, you know, that was it, which is a microcosm of, like, the world, and, like, and that's where, back to where I kind of started, was, like, I was so focused on, like, skiing on this microcosm thing and got good at it and did whatever, but then now, then I remember the realization that first summer in Smithers, like, kind of like meeting, hanging out with people in a town that was a regular town, not a ski town. To me, that was like astounding. Not astounding, it was fucking lame. Like, I rolled with it, but it was annoying because, you know, I'm still walking around like amped up on like, what's happening? Where are we gonna fucking shred the gnar? You know, and the people are like, yeah, I'm working on sustainable living. I like wood stove. Your wood stove's putting out too much smoke. Or I'm gonna grow some potatoes this summer. I'm like, what? This is what you guys are talking about? Like, and I couldn't even believe it. Like, and I had to, but I remember being like, you know, because I was already practicing half-assed mindfulness and like, okay, roll with it. Maybe you're gonna learn something from this thing. And I remember for like a summer, I made it 6 or 8 months, kind of like, okay, yeah, and then I was like, bah! And then we fucking moved to Whistler, fucking Agroville. But it just goes to what you said, skiing's a very microcosm.
It is a very microcosm. But, you know, it's still in this valley, it matters to a lot of people, it matters to a lot of kids. There's kids in this valley that skiing matters as much to as it did to us when
I know,
we were
I forget
age.
that, I know, exactly.
And unfortunately, for a state where all of the pro athletes come to showcase their skills and be, you know, a model for their fucking brands that sponsor them, the kids that live here and rip, and honestly, like, rip a lot harder than a lot of the fucking people that are outside, don't get the opportunities because they're not exposed to the ski reps, they're not exposed to the whole system.
Well, the dudes that did make it had to move out of state.
Yeah, the kids that did actually get any type of name for themselves, which is mainly in the snowboarding industry, they all moved out of state. They all moved to Tahoe, they all moved to Utah. And you know, the short time I was in Utah, you immediately realize how quickly you start getting attention. Or, you know, you go ski at some other resort for a very short period of time and you meet people and all of a sudden, like, you know, you're very inclusive to, like, all the ski reps, and it's like, you just have to hang out for a little bit longer, and it's like, you know, there's all the free shit, but it's...
Well, that's kind of where I fucked up. A, Smithers is nothing. B, Whistler's Canada. And I was a fucking arrogant Alaskan American there, which is the antithesis of what they liked.
No, ultimately what it is I think, is that there's no poor people left in the game as far as the skiing and snowboarding industry is concerned. These are all like Trustafarian kids that already have an income, and so they're very easy to sponsor.
Yeah.
Because it's just like
they're already rich. And
yeah,
no
they
pressure.
already have income, so it's like you sponsor them, and they're already like going and going to do all these things. Like,
that's
you know, when you were 21 years old to sponsor you, like, you needed money, not only gear, but you needed fucking money to go do all this shit. So why not find some kid that has like, he gets 50 grand a year already from his parents or whatever, and like sponsor him. He may be a little bit shittier of a skier than you, but he's already got the van and he's already going and doing it. Like, slap a sticker on his ass and send him on his way. Like, what gets
well,
that
I just realized how
Alaska?
small. Well, I did a quick Google search or YouTube search right before we got here. Actually, I was like, I'm just thinking random skiing. I'm like, oh, skiing. Like, it's winter's coming. And I was like, oh, ski building video. I typed in ski building in YouTube, and there's like a couple. You look at the counts of views, like, like 50 grand, not big numbers. Then I was like, oh, ski quiver. Because I got a whole pile of fucking skis out here. I'm like, oh, I could do a ski quiver video, whatever the fuck that is. And I typed in ski quiver, and there's like 200 views, 500 views, 300 views, 800 views, right? Like little numbers.
Yeah, very.
And then, and I realized that, because then that's the whole thing, like, these guys say, you know, focus on the one thing, it's one thing. But like, one thing has to be interesting to a lot of fucking people. And then you'll research, I don't know if you've done any research on like PewDiePie or Casey Neistat or these people. Like, it's interesting what they're talking, or Mr. Beast. Dude, we had, I think, did we talk about this the other day?
We talked.
Like the Mr. Beast. You'd be like, last guy who's holding this computer gets it. You just put your hand on it. That would be the fucking video. And we sit here for 3 days because you want this MacBook Pro 2010 so bad.
Yeah, it's you're a foreign national in a way. Like, we're all foreign nationals. We're Alaskans, you know. And as far as like,
we're too far out there, I think.
We're too far out there to be mainstream. You know what I'm saying? And so like,
So
that's
funny.
why we made such great reality TV, because people watch reality TV to like pick and poke at fucking weirdos. They don't watch reality TV to be like, yeah, that's my homie, I want to hang out with that bro. You know?
Like, that's why Alaska's
like you watch this shit to make yourself feel better, right?
Oh my God.
And so like, we have a whole state full of people that will make you feel better. So, like, well, let's go on a fucking ride.
Think
right?
about that, I guess, on the whole. That's why Alaska's really interesting. If you think of the world, here's Earth, where did they come from? They were out of Africa, into Asia, into Europe, thousands of years ago, whatever, that doesn't fucking matter. Asia for thousands of years, Europe, and then how long ago did they even come to North America? And that's not disregarding Native Americans who were here, but their culture didn't persevere, as we came across. As you're treading fine lines, it's a tight rope to walk.
It changes by the day.
Point being, Western civilization pushed across North America at a certain rate, and bink, Alaska's the fucking dead end. We're at the end.
Yeah.
Over there is the old world. Like, if you think about the way the sun goes around the Earth, that's the way we've come around the goddamn world. And here we are at the fucking end. The fringe, the leading edge, which may or may not, it's dull, or whatever the hell it is. It's like, when you think about it, and I remember being in Smithers, and everyone there, they've, a lot of people migrated across Canada. They made it to the Lower Mainland, which is Vancouver area, and then they pushed to Smithers. That's where they pushed to from the masses, because it comes from Europe. You think about it, all of our energy comes from Europe to North America, pushes west. Smithers was as far as they made it, right? And then in my head, I'm like, oh, and they think they're so far west and north. I'm like, well, Alaska's another fucking 2,000 miles. Like, you guys aren't even at the edge yet. Like, knowing that's where I'd already come from.
Yeah.
And it's not that it means anything or it's of any value or unvalue, but that's just where we are.
No, it's like when somebody from the East Coast, I mean, like, all the kids that are in Girdwood that are from New England, when they first decided, like, we're gonna go west, they all went to Colorado
or Montana. Yeah,
like,
Montana,
that was
Utah.
west to them. They made it to the fucking Rockies, but to us, like, the Rockies is
it's like goddamn LA.
Is that the west?
It might as well be Compton.
Like that's the central United States, sir. You've made it as far as the Rockies. Like, you didn't make it west.
Yeah, and I always now
you've reached the continental divide.
And that's the funniest thing. Like, growing up here, going to Smithers, and then taking 7 years to get back here. It was a fucking lot of effort to like uproot myself, moving thousands of miles. It's a lot of fucking effort. Even to know where I was coming to my homeland, to everything. And it was like to uproot, because I had a life going in Smithers. Like, it was good. I liked it. And we're like, well, I guess we're fucking leaving now. Like, back to Girdwood. But you think about people, and that's my point, is that, I know people in Girdwood, they've made that double hop. I went to Montana, then I came to Utah, then I came here, and I gave them more credit now for having me. Those are drastic moves. To be just some solo person, like, moving to fucking cross country to some town, like, all the way to Alaska, like, give them credit for coming this far.
Yeah, and that's one of the more interesting parts about living in Alaska is listening to people's stories, how they got here.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a little different story. I mean, being from somebody that, like, was born and raised here, maybe for a long time I didn't appreciate that, but it's interesting as an adult where you kind of gain more appreciation for how people got here.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not an easy task for a lot of people to end up in Alaska. Like, there was like some type of stretch, there was some type of like harebrained idea, there was a moment. Yeah. And like, you hear a lot of these things from the people that end up here that it was like, oh, and then
they find Girdwood.
And then I just went to Alaska, and then then the town that we live in is very unique in Alaska. Like, Alaska can be a little hard-edged, or some parts are conservative, some parts are like inclusive, and like maybe it has to do with native culture or just being remote and
rednecks.
people being
Well, I remember. Well, to that point, I remember for the first time ever, I loved Girdwood. It was like an epic. You know, I loved it. It was the only town I could think of living. I remember going down to the first salmon stock in Nilchik, 7, 8 years ago, and I remember it was the first time ever. You know, I'm like 35 or whatever. I'm like, they're like, where are you from? I'm like, oh, Girdwood, and they're like, oh, Girdwood. Like it was this like negative kind of.
Oh, when you go to the peninsula,
yeah.
like, Girdwood is like, oh, you're from Girdwood. Like,
yeah.
Like you're
totally. You're a Trustafarian, double house owning something, or you're a hippie dipshit liberal.
Yeah, you're just exactly. You're a hippie dipshit.
You're not real Alaska.
Exactly.
It's like weird. You're probably rich Trustafari who moved
No,
from somewhere else.
I mean, working in the film industry like I have, and you like travel around and do all this shit, and like, you know, like mainly within the state, and like I'll go to a village, and I mean honestly, you know, for like.
What are you going to villages for?
To just film random shit, you know, for like and so for instance, like here, I went to Wales, like, which is what, Wales is 100 miles or so north of Nome, closest point in Alaska to Russia, right?
Who was your client, or what were you doing up there?
I was filming some shit for outside television, cable network TV show. So at the time, there's this girl, and she is what'd she do? She the first thing that she had done, this woman, is she had been on a boat, and they had been in an oar boat, and they paddled across the Atlantic. They paddled from Europe to the U.S., her and 4 other men, and then after that, like, she had gotten some interest in some sponsors, so she created another trip, and I think from Washington or Vancouver, they had kayaked all the way up the Alaska coast, and then to maybe Anchorage or to some place on the road system, Anchorage, you know, Seward, Valdez, I don't know where the fuck. They flew their kayaks up to Nome, I believe, and then started paddling up the coast. And, like, you know, they were kind of making trying to gain some notoriety because she was trying to get some sponsorship to do another big ocean crossing paddle. Now, these boats that they use, they cost a couple $100,000, you know, so you need a big-time sponsor, like a watchmaker or a tennis shoe company. You need somebody to pay for this thing. So anyway, moral of the story is I end up working on a film job as a cameraman, and I go to Wales because this girl's going to paddle from Russia to Alaska.
And you're going to see her landing?
Yeah, and then we're going to film this whole excursion. You know, and so my impression of it, leaving from Anchorage, where I'm like, I don't even know what I'm getting myself into, dude. So I fly to, which is a lot of the jobs I get into are very vague until you get there. So I get to Wales, and ultimately this girl's been in this town for a couple weeks, and she has caused a lot of problems. I don't know, you know, if she owes people money or they just don't like her, but we get to town and there's definitely some problems. And her goals that she wants to accomplish are not going to get met because there's some people that are unhappy with her, and it's like me and another cameraman and a representative from the television company I'm with.
Oh my gosh.
And so we get there, and like, she wants to do this paddleboard thing where she paddles from Russia, and then we're like, oh, but you have no permits to do so, so like, you can't just go to Russia with no.
How's she gonna go? She's like, we're gonna fly over in a helicopter, and
she was gonna have us take her over in a boat,
and
then she was gonna paddle back.
Oh my god!
So this is what ends up actually happening, not what she thinks is I show up in Wales, Alaska, me and Dirk, and with this other kid who's from outside TV, and we meet with these native guys. And I think maybe half the guys in the village wanted to bang her, and half the guys were just they saw some payment out of the deal, you know. And so they weren't very happy with her, and we showed up, and we kind of had to smooth things over with these guys, which was fine, you know, and it was like, but it was, like you say, once again, being from Girdwood, it's not a very, I'm like, I have no standing in a native village being from Girdwood, Alaska. I might as like being from fucking Girdwood, Alaska, in the state of Alaska is like being from LA, or, I mean, I don't know where the hell I'm from, Malibu, or, I mean, I live in this cushy little town, so.
That's so funny.
How I made connections with the dudes is that I know snow machining. I filmed and edited snow machine videos, and when I went to the village, I brought a dozen snow machine videos.
Oh my god! You just traded them out,
so
gave them away.
Yeah, if you show up, like, you know, and like these kids, like, I mean, their snow machine is one of their prized possessions. Which, I mean, it's not any different than around here.
Well, they like live with
them.
People
in this valley, their snow machines are prized possessions. So like, there's a connection there, right? That like. And like, that's a very, very powerful connection in the state of Alaska, is like, whether you like it or not, is that like, and that alone allows me to like get through. We get these boat captains to go out, and even though we don't go to Russia, we go across the international date line into Russian waters enough that we get buzzed by Russian aircraft.
Really?
Yeah. In little Lunds, 17-foot Lunds, like 40 miles from shore out in the middle of the fucking.
Oh.
You know, and so, anyway, we make it back safe and everything's fine. But
so you just kicked her out, she just paddled back?
Yeah, we put her ass in the boat and her paddleboard, and we took 2 Lunds, 17-foot Lunds with like 40 horsepower motors on it, on the like, luckier than all hell day, super flat. Go out 40 miles in the Bering Strait till we cross the international date line.
Oh my god.
Into what is now there's Little Diomede and Big Diomede, and one of them's the U.S.
Well, it's funny, pause on that. My guy who I work for, his house, that's where he works. He's there right now. He flies helicopter from Nome to Little Diomede, the town there.
The mail run.
He's the mail run. He's the helicopter dude, dealing with all their shit.
Yeah.
And he hears about everything, and he says it's the most fucked up place ever.
Super fucked up. There's people that like grow weed out there. Like, that's the crazy thing, is like all the people that grow weed in the village. You're like, dude, you guys, like, you got like.
Well, this is so funny, thinking of Girdwood, is I was working in Seward. When I came here from Hawaii that winter, it was working in Seward. I had renters in this house, and I was like, had a house I was renting in Seward through work or whatever, and it was such an, this is dead of winter, this is January, February. Coming from the Seward end of things, Seward's dead. And I'd never been there in winter. I'd literally never been to Seward in the winter. I had no reason to ever go there.
Yeah.
And no one ever has a reason to go there, apparently, because it was a ghost town. I don't know if you've been there in dead of winter. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, there's the front park where all the motorhomes are in the summer. It's just a wasteland of snow.
Yeah.
And then half the house is just empty. There's like one little coffee shop. There's a Safeway. The saving grace when I was working there was a swimming pool. Like, it was actually a warm swimming pool at the high school. So I'd go work 10 hours in the cold, and then go swim laps for like an hour and a half every night. It was the best thing ever. Anyway, when I'd come home, I was staying in the studio over here if I came on the weekends. And it was such a trip to be in Seward, which is Deadsville. The whole Seward Highway is fucking dead. In general, in the fucking winter, like, 8 o'clock at night on a Thursday night or whatever, because we were doing 410, so Thursday night I'd book it back up, you're dead. I wouldn't pass a single car.
The whole way.
The whole way. Maybe 1 or 2 cars, you come through Port, actually then, in the nighttime Turnagain's dead anyway. And I remember coming around the corner at Portage and coming and seeing the traffic piling into Girdwood, from Anchorage, the Friday night crowd.
Yeah.
And like, whoa, like, and I could see it coming from Deadsville, coming around the corner, and it's literally, this was like 3 years ago, and it was such an eye-opener to see. And I knew it, but to see it like that, the flood of lights coming around Bird Point, piling into Girdwood, and I came driving in from Tesoro from the other direction, and it was like, oh, there's Anchorage, there's America, there's booming shit going on, and then I like, came into it, and I pull into here, which I'm right at the edge of it, basically, and it was just really eye-opener, which makes me also think about these people who ride the train. There's a train that comes by the tourists in the summer. It's been less this summer, obviously, but and these trees have grown. The trees used to be smaller, and these tourists would come by going all slow, about to stop, and then we'd be all, the kids would run out and wave, train, train, go wave at the train, and all these tourists would be like, in their faces, they're so astounded. They're like, "Whoa, look!" And everyone would like,
look. Town.
They would like, "Look at those people!" And they're like, little kids are waving, because in their head, they're all coming from out of state, They all got on the train probably in Seward, off a boat. You know, they came in from wherever, got on a fucking train, and they saw nothing but glaciers and mountains ever since Seattle, wherever they came from. And then they're seeing us, like, douche, this little, like, hi, we're in the fucking middle of nowhere, like.
Oh yeah, that's so funny is that so what ends up happening, you know, we're the terminus of two things right here in Whittier and Seward. We're the terminus of the north to south land tour for the major tour companies, and we're also the pickup point for people who there's a couple of different tours. We're the pickup point for people who are not only flying out of state, they reach their northern destination for the cruise, but they're also the people who are going to do a land tour. So most, you know, we have 1 point whatever million people who come to Alaska on a cruise ship every year. Most of those people cruise from...
That many people?
Yeah. But most of those people will cruise from Vancouver or Seattle, and they will get off in Juneau, and they will literally fly back there. It's like a 3-4 day cruise, right?
Yeah.
Then the next step is you can come up through, you know, the rest of the Inside Passage, and you come up to, you know, Haines and Skagway, and then come and like terminate in Whittier or Seward, depending on which cruise ship you ride. At that point, people will then go and fly out in Anchorage, which is like how most people do their tours. They just take the cruise portion. Now the really dedicated people, for some fucking reason, after being on a cruise ship,
they'll get on the train.
Now they get on a train, which then takes them to a tour bus, which then takes them on a 4 to 5 day tour bus trip to Fairbanks. So you got on a fucking cruise ship in Seattle or Vancouver, and where you're getting off is 2 weeks later in Fairbanks, Alaska, to fly home. The demographic of these people who do this are in their 70s. They're all retired. You know, there's not any kids. There's not any young people that do this shit. Young people don't want to be stuck on a tour bus.
Well, I remember working at the hotel, like Talk Tours and what were the other names?
Yeah, these are all the land tourists.
Yeah, and they all come just pumping through. You're like, Talk Tours coming through, like, oh my god. Yeah, they do that. What was the scam? I'm trying to remember the scam at the pond they did. The waiters.
Oh, they had
there was a voucher.
Yeah, there were, you know,
for a buffet.
Absolutely, yeah. They were scamming the system, per se. Anytime somebody pays with cash.
Oh yeah,
there's a cash transaction with somebody that only makes minimum wage. You just definitely want to keep an eye out on that employee. And that wasn't something that was LES Resorts like a strong suit at the time. So when somebody,
I remember I was a busser.
This is what people would do. There was servers at a hotel, and the cruise ship passengers, or the tour passengers, they would show up with a voucher. Okay. They would pay for their breakfast buffet with a voucher, and you as a server would now take your voucher. Oh, thank you very much, sir. You're going to eat buffet food, like, and they wouldn't ring it in. They'd stick that buffet voucher in their little, you know, in their apron. And so now what they would do is they would have somebody come in, and when somebody came in and that was a normal client and would pay cash. Now they would take that voucher and they'd go ring that in, and they would take the cash and put it in the voucher.
I mean, the buffet, that's the thing that was never coming through. There's no ticket coming through.
Yeah.
You know, so
exactly.
you could have.
Yeah.
That's the scam, I guess. But
I mean,
I never did. I just heard it. I remember hearing about it, and I'd been there for a couple of years. I was like, I kind of like realized. I think several of them. Anyway, I don't have to get in trouble.
It was not a scam. It was a huge weakness in a system that was a bunch of minimum wage employees that were like, you know.
It reminds me of that statue that no one's torn down yet at the hotel. I can't believe no one tore that thing down. The guy on the horse coming down the hill. A, the guy's definitely racist. B, the horse is animal abuse.
The guy's definitely racist.
Well, he's like some old world like dude coming across America. And isn't he from Jackson? That statue is like a Jackson thing. I don't know, because Burns put it in there.
Yeah, I think the artist it's a Jackson. Yeah,
but just the way the horse is going down such a steep pitch, that's animal abuse, in my activist point of view. Anyway, they couldn't tear it down because the construction fence was around it.
So
whoever they are, these writers.
So this is a funny concept to me. So like is a chat
this thing, making sure it's still got juice. Oh, we got 11%.
Wrap it up.
Still. Oh yeah. What are you saying?
Oh, when we were making snow machine movies, like you said, when people's concept of the West, when you're from the East Coast, and it's like, it's like, oh, I'm going to move west and move to Colorado. We made a DVD cover for a movie we made one year for an action sports snow machine movie, and the graphics designer, we were like, oh yeah, like, we were looking for something that's like all this stuff that like, we're looking something that's like, like Western kind of like, like we're thinking like trees and shit. So the guy sends us a bunch of stuff with like fucking Broncos and like, like barbed wire and shit. And we're like, whoa, not like Midwest. We're talking like, like Northwestern shit, like, and so, but it's funny, depending on where you're from in the country, what you
this country's so fucking big and everyone's all hating each other now. I was just thinking, I'll read you the 8 stories before we run out. Well, it's one story.
Yeah.
We're resurrecting.
Ultimately, like, I think that we should get Todd and you and me, we should sit down and do a little Abe cast. And then I can go and like, I can hit up Carlo and hit up Greener and hit up Wheeler. Abe's buddies in Utah, and those guys can sit down and do the same thing. Like, watch ours.
I actually want to get a hold of those dudes because this is pretty funny stuff. I know there's stories that they probably didn't hear.
Yeah, and like we can like do a podcast, like a little deal, and then they can watch it and then do like their deal, and we could kind of like bounce them off of each other.
Well, and I should dig through those tapes. I bet there's some funny shit in there.
If I can ever get in, if I was gonna go find Darby because I think he has a mini DV camera.
I think I have one actually. I know I do.
My mini DV camera set my office on fire.
Really?
Like, I had the thing and it was like dead to me, and then Andy was like,
what? Really?
No, I'm dead serious. Like, Andy bought, like, I like had this mini DV camera, and it was like just in case all those tapes that I showed you, in case I wanted to see those.
What was that first Sony one? What was it called? That nice one. First one, Hans had one.
Yeah, I had the same one.
What's
the
it called?
PC 100 or whatever it was.
Something. It was like the first, like, ooh, this thing's sweet.
Yeah.
What, the battery like fucked up and?
Yeah, I plugged it in, left it in my office, and went home. And in the fucking, I get a call from the office manager the next day, like, oh, the sprinkler system went off, and I go and like, my office was like.
Where's your office?
In town. At the time, that was where my whole drone business and all of my filming shit was. So the sprinkler system went off, and like pretty much just like I go in and all my cameras and all my electronics. God. It's literally like in like Tupperware tubs, all super organized, and all of them are like to the brim with water, and the fucking electronics are like floating in it.
Did you have insurance? That's a fucking pain.
All the shit was insured, but like amazingly, a lot of the stuff was still good. It was like
put in a bag of rice.
Yeah, you just dry it out, and a lot of that electronic stuff. If it's not plugged in and receiving electricity when it gets wet, it's fine if you completely dry it out before you get electricity.
Well, you heard about that fire the other night. Did you hear?
Yeah.
It's like that house. I actually saw it. Because it's the only house you could see from out on the highway.
Yeah. Up
on the hill. And I remember seeing it because it's new. They put it in the summer. And I remember that night or that afternoon or whatever, the day before, I was driving. I'm like, what the fuck house is that? Because I knew what it was and I knew I'd never seen it before, and I wasn't sure where it was. And it was that night.
Dude, the crazy thing about that is that you know, Echo Drive has some Airbnbs on that street, and you know, there's a consistent battle that goes on between the Whittier Police Department, the Girdwood Fire Department, and the residents up there, between people parking on the street, and they have a lot of issues up there, you know.
Who was I talking to? Someone who lives up there saying that. I don't know
And
who
like,
it was, but yeah, exactly. I heard that street had problems.
Yeah, they have a lot of problems. Well, it's the steepest street in Girdwood, and for God forsaken, this is like the steepest street. Like,
and you got randoms driving up there
in the
for
middle
a
of
house.
winter when it's icy. It's like
God.
nobody belongs on that street that
That's
doesn't
true.
live up there. Like, you run in an
Well,
Airbnb
Rosie's got a
off
friend up
Echo
there.
Drive, like,
Well, Rosie's got a friend up there
Yeah.
on one of them, and in the bad when it's bad, I'm like, I'm parking down at Alpine Meadows or
Yeah,
whatever
you
the hell
slide
it
your
is.
ass
I'm
down
like,
here,
you
right?
walk downhill. She's like, no, come and get me. I'm like, no, because
No.
you know I can get up the hill easy, but it's the coming down with the heavy diesel. You're just gonna fucking slip right off.
yeah. So thank God that like it wasn't a busy night up there, and they like couldn't get up there, and it wasn't dry.
Well, it sounded like a shit show anyway. Like the nearest fire hydrant was like 2,000 feet away, and then the pump is all pump truck stuff. Like,
Oh yeah.
Like when my shed.
Yeah.
My shed pointing that used to be over here caught fire. They had to pump it from the Tesoro. That was a shit show. Yeah, you were working with the Ontario Forum when that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, that was bad. Anyway, I should read this before the camera dies. This is funny. Well, it's depressing. Well, it starts depressing, but... So I don't know if you tried to not laugh or something. No, you can laugh all you want or ask questions. There's no fucking whatever, no rules. So I wrote this August 10th. So 2 years to the day. It's been 2 years to the day since my friend Abe died. You have no idea how many times I've thought about how to start writing about this royal bummer of a subject. I keep having this recurring recollection about a funeral I went to as a kid. I was in Cub Scouts, and one of the kids in my group was named Robert. Robert was cool, and we were friends enough that we got together outside of actual scout events a few times. One day, Robert got on a plane to fly to Dallas to visit his dad for a couple of weeks, as his parents had been divorced for some time. While visiting his dad, they went to a shooting range to shoot guns as they do in Texas. As the story goes, Robert was killed by his dad when the gun accidentally discharged. A rifle? A pistol? I don't know. That is all they told me. I was not immediately too sad, as I really barely knew the kid. But I remember the feeling of being affected by death for the first time. It was not too bad, as far as I could tell as an 8-year-old. The day of the funeral came, and Robert's mother first requested all of the boys in the Cub Scout troop that came would wear their scout uniforms. She also wanted us to carry the coffin like a squad of adult Marines, but that idea was turned down by my dad, who was the scout troop leader. We went to the funeral, and the only thing I can really remember, short pause, this was actually really annoying writing this. I was like, this is a deep memory that I wrote a couple weeks ago. The image that is ingrained in my mind was of Robert's mother being escorted / carried by a gaggle of sisters and brothers and aunts and mothers from her car as she was racked with uncontrollable sobbing. I can't even read it. As they lowered the little coffin into the ground. Look at me, I can't even fucking read this. It was pretty, yeah, it was at the time. Wow, that's funny how that happens. At the time, I was just like, standing there, my little fucking thing, doing this, like a Cub Scout thing, and but then years later, like, what the fuck, that was fucked up. Like, I was 8. Like, that was fucked up, and I remember her, like,
Oh yeah.
she wanted us to carry the fucking coffin like little fucking Marines, and I remember being like, you know, we're this tall, like, we're little fucking kids, and my dad's like, oh, that's a bad idea. Anyway, I remember this. Little coffin into the hole. The family rushed in and pulled her, as they lowered the little coffin in the hole, she tore free from the group and threw herself onto the box halfway into the hole. And I remember being like, that's fucked up. Like, I didn't have kids at the time. The family rushed in, pulled her back as they proceeded with the internment. We watched the coffin disappear into the hole while holding the little Cub Scout sign, 2 fingers held at their brow, and a final salute to our friend. That's fucking dramatic. It turns, though. As far as Abe goes, Abe was a bastard. At his memorial, the recurring toast being hollered and cried out by his mourning friends was, "Fuck you, Abe." It seems like the oddest ode to be found in an insult, but that was Abe, and he would have loved it. He was like a mischievous little devil in the form of a human. You could count your blessings, he was on your side. So many people in high school thought he was a complete asshole, but I got to call him my friend. It was Abe and Ryan and Tom who I spent my most formative years in the mountains. There's this typo there. I'm trying to decipher my typos. 1 month after Abe's death, Ryan and I decided to do a good old-fashioned death march from Bird to Girdwood. Bird Creek to Girdwood along the mountain ridge tops. We started in the rain and climbed for 2 hours before gaining the first high point in the ridge before 10 a.m. The weather called for rain and we planned on getting wet, but it was right as we topped out. The clouds dispersed into fluffy cotton balls that would dance in the wind along the ridge ahead of us, drenching in sun. We would be in the fog, but the sun would still be blaring through, turning everything to gold. Then a break. Then we'd see the water of turning an arm, and the new cloud would roll by like a recovered memory of Abe. Ryan and I laughed our asses off if we would just blurt one story after another about the twisted little fucker. One time, Ryan made a stop. I don't remember if you know the story, but one time, Ryan made a stop so he would go into the supermarket for something. I was in the driver's seat as always, and Abe was in the passenger seat. On the dash were 3 items: Ryan's toothbrush, toothpaste, and an old-school film camera. This was 2001 or so. I can remember Abe picking up the camera like a baboon maybe and inspecting it. Then his eye spotted the toothbrush and his hand bolted out and grabbed it. He held them both in front of his face with a look like he had just discovered fire. I was on to him. What are you going to do? I knew it could not be good. Abe just started laughing. As he laughed, he grabbed the toothpaste. He kept laughing more as he uncapped the toothpaste and put some on the brush. I was laughing, though I was not sure why. I was like, what are you going to do with it? Like, I remember literally sitting there as he was just like, ha 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 ha, like putting it on there. I'm like, oh my god, where's this going? He held the camera and took a picture of the toothbrush, and then as quick as lightning, he pulled his pants down and started slobbing the toothbrush on his disgusting dirty dick, all the while taking pictures and laughing like a maniac. And in retrospect, maybe he was a maniac and I was his enabler. He scrubbed his nuts enough that I remember them being all frothy, as I partly wanted to escape the car, but I also wanted to know how fucked Ryan really would be. Abe had enough. He cleaned the toothbrush in his armpit and set it back on the dash, and then turned to me with a half scold and his finger pointing in my face, demanding silence on the subject. I wiped a tear from my cheek and complied. Back on the ridgetop with Ryan, my feet hurt, and I knew Abe was fucking with me. I had very specifically planned on bringing multiple sets of socks for this long day in the mountains, but at the last second I switched backpacks and didn't realize that I had forgot to grab the socks out of the side pocket. Our feet had been soaked from the first 10 minutes of the hike, and now around 5 hours in I had some chafing going on where the dirt and debris had worked in around the top of my shoe. Ryan smugly swapped out his socks, and I was reminded how I had trained Ryan up in the mountains over 15 years earlier. That was a fucking... Dude, that destroyed my feet worse than any trip ever. And I specifically was trying to save my feet. Dude, the edges back here were just destroyed. It was like I wore these wool socks. It was just... I swear it was fucking Abe, because I wore these fucking weird little socks.
It was Abe.
And then they were hurting like 5 hours into it, and it was like a 9-hour trip. Dude, anyway. Point is, Abe's feet were always fucked up. Or I should say, Abe's clothing and equipment was always falling apart, but he endured. He was seriously only 5'2" in high school, and for all that suffering I professed to have endured in the mountains, Abe's burden was surely double. I mentioned a story earlier about Abe having a broken foot and we rode scooters to Girdwood. Good times. A couple of weeks later, Abe prematurely pulled his cast apart because it had been saturated too many times and it stank. We told him not to, but he insisted. The dang pin that they had put in there had been working its way out next to his pinky toe, so he just yanked it out. The next day we decided to go on an adventure. We biked from Glen Alp's parking lot above Anchorage with skis on our backpacks. This was in early June. We biked back 4 miles to the base of the north side of Ptarmigan Peak. Our plan was to climb and ski the gnarly North Couloir that runs right off the summit. It was fairly hard summer snow. Abe's foot hurt too much for him to jam into a ski boot, the preferred footwear. Instead, he carried his skis and boots over his shoulder while retaining SPD bike shoes on his feet. Like, he boot packed all the fucking North Face with his skis on and the boots like draped, or he was carrying the skis. Dude, so sketchy.
Such a scumbag.
And like gnarly. And at the top of the run, Abe forced his foot into the swollen boot and he skied the line. Like, I remember his foot was fucked up because he'd ripped the thing out 2 days before.
That was his toe?
Yeah, and he jammed it into the boot. He's toe. Like, I think he was always in just so much pain all the time. Like, it just kept going, like, insanely. That night, we went to a party at a friend's house on the hillside, Brett and Aressa's house. Abe had 21 shots of tequila and soon took his pants off. We went out to the driveway as He went out to the driveway as we hollered directions at him as to the whereabouts of the imaginary girls in the yard. I don't know if you were there.
No.
They are right over behind that bush. We were up on the deck, and he's in the driveway, and we're like, they're over there, behind that bush. Go get them, there's naked girls. And Abe's like, really? He thought there was. Abe did a couple of stumbled laps around the house before taking off down the driveway toward the world at large. We ran out and corralled him back to the house. I gathered his pants and any remaining dignity and helped him to sleep in the garage, curled up on a round dog mat. So I put him to sleep in the fucking garage. A couple hours later, I went to check on him. I found him in the utility bathroom, passed out with his head, top of his head hanging scalp deep in the puke-filled toilet bowl. He's like passed out with his head in the toilet bowl like this. I shook him awake and put his head at ease on the urine-stained bowl rim. Again later I checked on him. This time he was drinking the puke-filled water with his hand like it was a fresh mountain stream. Like he's like drinking like this out of the toilet bowl. Then he was so gross, Ryan lamented. Ryan and Abe were basically gay butt buddies for another decade after my wife ejected me from the bro club. Ryan reminded me of the party Abe threw at his stepdad's house. The night actually started at a hotel room that Abe rented on his very own credit card. I don't know if we remember this. They destroyed it. Did you know that story? The Golden Lion?
Yeah, the lion.
I had not joined in on the festivities at that point in the evening yet. I don't know if it was the same night. I think it was within 2 nights. I was trying to remember when I wrote this, if it was the same night or within 2 nights. I know it was real close, because I remember after the Golden Lion thing, they pressed charges. They were like, you're fucking under arrest, like, whatever.
Yeah,
like, and he somehow got out of it.
Yeah, he skated on it.
I don't know how he got away. They ripped the toilet seat out and threw it on the floor with the mattresses and everything else in the room and pissed on it and poured beer out for their fallen homies, then they left. Like, that's what they literally did. They destroyed the fucking hotel room. And then said Fred Bull was there, because I remember Fred was at that party, even though I knew I wasn't there, but anyway, I had written about him earlier. Later at his stepdad's condo, the party reconvened. Max was a retired Air Force pilot and was very respectful and patient with Abe and his brothers. Over the course of the party, Abe put tinfoil in the microwave, smashed vodka screwdrivers all over the place, burnt Max's American flag that hung in the corner, knocked out a Russian exchange student on a fireplace mantel, and pissed on a girl who passed out on the couch. I'm trying to get that picture from Narissa. She has a picture of that. In retrospect, I feel bad for having been part of it. I liked Max, and I think he and Abe's mom thought I was a good influence on him. I think I was in general, but I did like to encourage Abe's shenanigans. In this case, I didn't encourage any of it for what it was worth. That was Abe, always pushing things to the limit. Like, you weren't at that party, you.
No, I wasn't.
I was like, we were like 20 or 21, and I was kind of just like, it's getting out of control, I was still having fun, but I felt bad. One time, I was dropping him off at his parents' condo, the same place as mentioned before. He pulled his bike off the rack, and I could see it on the ground behind the car. I looked back over to the passenger window, and there's Abe gleefully pissing all over the rearview mirror and window as I yelled, "Stop that!" That only encouraged him as he laughed more and smashed his nasty cock and balls up against the glass while still pissing, making a mess for sure. Like, literally, I'm in this fucking seat in my brown Subaru, and he's, like, pissing on the window.
That's
It's just mashed, like, everywhere on him, like... I should have just run over his bike. Then I was like, oh yeah, a few weeks later we did run over his bike on purpose so his mom would get him a new one. To be fair, it was a 24-inch ghetto Huffy and we smashed it flat, and Abe told his mom that he had crashed and broke it. The whole bike was tacoed out and she believed him. Remember we ran it over like 10 times? Abe used to steal from REI a lot. He would go in to buy something, then go back in and grab the same item off the shelf and then go return it for cash. Or sometimes you just go and put clothes on in the change room. Or once he hid in the circular coat rack and put clothes on. I swear he specifically caused REI to clamp down on a very lenient return policy. I think he did.
I think he absolutely did. Like, he got to the point where none of his friends would go to REI with him because they felt like they were going to be.
I remember one time though, I was like, I was the wheelman, and I kind of like got sucked into it. And I was like, oh god, like he was going to do some fucking. I don't know what the maneuver was. I was like, oh god, like probably implicating myself.
He was so poor at the time, and like
Anyway, so REI.
Sorry, REI.
One time we were in Seward for the 4th of July festivities. We stayed up all night drinking by a river, and some people had the audacity to try and sleep in some tents on the beach. Abe and another guy, it was Kyler, Abe and another guy started wrestling right next to the tents and on purpose bulldozed over 3 or 4 of them, snapping the tent poles and shredding the flies. I thought it was hilarious. But then again, as mentioned before, I might be an asshole. One time I gave Abe $5 to eat 3 moose turds. He started chewing and the pellets were so dry they got all pasty and... Recording. Okay. We're recording. Okay, wow. Backtrack a half paragraph. Wrap this shit show up. I don't remember where I stopped. Oh, one time I gave Abe $5 to eat 3 moose turds. He started chewing and the pellets were so dry that he got all pasty and he didn't have any water and he nearly choked. That was up on the hillside trails. I don't know if you were with me when that happened.
No, I was not.
And it was just, I took an actual picture. I wish I, anyway. I didn't laugh the one time he sprayed DEET right in my mouth. Abe was so proud of getting people to snap and they would want to kill him. I was proud of not snapping despite being the target of his concerted efforts. One thing I didn't write in here for some reason was the one time we were at Ryan's condo. And he's like, punch me, hit me, hit me, hit me. I'm like, I don't want to hit you, no. And like for hours, 2 hours, he's like, punch me. And then finally I karate kicked him out of the blue. Like I just like, to his chest. And he's like, kakoosh, and hit the ground. And then he just loved it. He was just laughing on the ground. And I soccer kicked him a couple times. I was like, that's what you want? Like, why do you want this? Like, there you go. Like, I don't know if I snapped it. Anyway, in 11th grade, he told half the school I was gay and that I had hit on him. That was funny. He had sex with my sister. He steered me clear and covered for Ryan when Ryan was having sex with my then ex-girlfriend when I didn't want to be an ex. A decade later, he also had sex with the same ex-girlfriend, but at least I was long over her by then. He was so proud about that one. His first girlfriend he got to bang was named Sarah. He would come to school and smash his fingers in your mouth and face before you could react and then laugh while showing you the period blood around the fingernails. I already told the story about how he got Hans kicked off the radio because he had Abe live on the air and he was already 12 beers deep. I had previously written a story about that. Did you hear that story?
Oh, I was there.
You were there?
I was actually at the radio station.
Yeah, Hans got kicked off in the FAA violations or whatever. Like, it was pretty... And then the guys were coming out from Chair 5, running out and banging on the window, like, yeah, because they were playing it live in the bar.
Yeah, I was down there that night and was like in Chair 5 and he was in...
Oh my god, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I have 2 regrets. I didn't invite Abe or any of my Alaskan friends to my wedding in Canada. We were so far away and I felt like I had suffered a certain amount of dissociation by the whole move to Canada in the first place. Part of me did not want to see my friends and make me homesick, and part of me did not trust Abe to not make a drunken scene. So those were 2 genuine concerns. In recent years, Abe moved on to live in Utah where he worked for MSI and all the free ride comps. He was the actual start guy for a few years and he may have set you out of the gates. I was proud of him for that. Most recently, Abe moved to Austria with his new girlfriend. He would come back to Alaska only for a week or 2 every other year. The second regret was on Christmas Eve 3 years ago. He called and said he was at my house. I was driving home from town and would be there in 5 minutes, I told him. I got there and he had just left. Maybe my wife and kids and domestic bliss scared him away. I called him back. He was with Narissa at the house. And I was like, I'm home in 5 minutes, like, stay there. I called him back and we talked a few minutes, but he and the other friend went off to find a party. I actually really wanted to go with him and party, but I had to say goodbye and put the kids to bed in anticipation for Santa in the morning. I never did see Abe again. It was hilarious at the memorial when all of his ex-girlfriends were getting up on the mic and each professing their long-lost love for the bastard. He would have been laughing his ass off. Look at all these dumb bitches just want my dick. And it was true. It was pretty big for his size, and believe me, I saw way more than I'd like to admit. Speaking of which, it was like 3 months later when Ryan finally got his film developed. He just came running up to Abe and punched him in the shoulder and thrust a grainy picture of Abe scrubbing his frothy nuts with Ryan's toothbrush. We had totally forgot about that. I remember I totally forgot. Ryan came out and just punched him. And Abe's like, talked to the guy, he's like, why'd you do that? And he just did this, showed him the picture, and he's like, oh, and just started laughing. Like, oh, I deserve that. And that was the problem Abe left me with. All of my friends I would ever make over the years would be so boring and normal in comparison. Abe had broke my shock and fun meter, and I've been recovering ever since.
But for all this crazy public persona, he had a quiet side. I had seen him in a place of introspection, silence and a long drive home after another close call in the mountains, silence on the chairlift after 1,001 ski runs together. But then I remember how one day Ryan and Abe took LSD and I dropped for him. They jumped off a classic cliff run called Lolo's Leap over 30 times on refrozen crud. Abe swore to me that he can control the free fall through the forest as he flopped like a rag doll after massive double eject impact. Lap after lap with hydrogen peroxide in his hair to help turn it blonde and baby oil on his face to help get a tan. In summary, that is how I prefer to remember Abe, free falling down the mountain and through life in perfect control. Ugh. Anyway.
It's pretty fucking spot on.
Yeah. Yeah, you remember that day when they're like, they hit Lolo's, like, yeah, literally 30 times. And he was telling me, he's like, he was in control. He's like, I was in control. I knew I was going to hook. And I knew I would double eject. And they were ragdolling through. He said they ragdolled, because it was refrozen ice. Springtime. Bad. Worst time to ever hit Lolo's Leap. And he said they were literally ragdolling through the trees and ending up on the catch track, the spoon line. Did it like 20 times in a row. And then I'd gone to town for some reason, and then came back and saw them. They were at Ryan's condo, and they were both just sitting on the couch like this, still tripping, like this. They looked like they were being electrocuted. Bright, shiny red faces from baby oil, and their hair was bleach blonde, sticking up in the air, and they both just looked like they were being electrocuted, and they were watching South Park the movie on acid. I'm like, I was like, you guys are insane. Ugh. Anyway.
Yeah. It's so funny.
So, we're wrapping this podcast up here. We're going to do a podcast with Abe, though, an Abe cast.
Yeah, we ultimately really need to save the Abe stories for a podcast of their own. Like,
yeah.
I didn't tell any Abe stories, and boy, I have as many as anybody.
Well, I know, between you and Todd and Ryan, like,
yeah.
You could probably...
You know, a lot of the best ones are when we were, like, kids.
Yeah, before I even met him.
Yeah, like...
When I heard some of them.
12, 13 years old, right? Like, you know, when he was still, like, the little brother. You know, he's really still figuring himself out.
Uh-huh.
Because, you know, Abe, I knew Abe because they lived in Girdwood for a short period of time, and then they moved and they went to Homer.
Oh, yeah.
And I was in 5th grade, and I was probably 2 or 3 months into the 5th grade year, and we were a combined class, 5th, 6th grade.
Uh-huh.
And he moved back. And I literally remember the day that it was like, our teacher was like, hey, you know, this is Abe. Like, some of you may remember him from like 4 years ago, but he's back. And it was because Frank and Dawn got a divorce. And she moved back to Girdwood. And I mean, ideally, I think it kind of was because she just wanted to have the boys be able to like ski and on the hill. And that was like, when I was a kid, that was kind of a lot of the deal. It was like, dude, drop your kids on the hill, babysitter, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's like, just leave them up there, come get them. If they didn't like skiing, they'd play video games in the day lodge. That's a whole other story that like I can get into. The fucking OG day lodge in the video games.
I don't remember the old day lodge at all. Like, that was... Because the new one came in like 91 or 90. Or 95? I don't remember the old one at all. I remember vaguely the old rental room was under the day lodge, maybe.
Old rental room was downstairs in the day lodge, but upstairs Dozer had, like, he had console after console. There was, like, the whole windows that faced the mountain there were just video games. Yeah.
Like stand-up old school video games?
Well, stand-up old school video games.
Really? Oh, I don't know
there was like, dude, there was like 20 of them.
Oh.
30 games.
Oh, so that was like a thing to do.
It was like parents would drop kids off at the resort to go skiing. And the motherfucking kids would never leave the day lodge because they would be in there with their $10 or whatever their parents gave them. They just cash out in the coin machine and play video games. there were kids that would never go skiing even though they had ski passes.
Really?
Because they just played video games in the day lodge.
Interesting.
Yeah, for like years.
Wow.
And I remember at one time, I would even say my brother was almost one of those people. You know, he was a great skier. I remember at one time I was like, dude, you're fucking amazing. But at the same time, he spent a lot of fucking time in the day lodge playing video games.
That is so funny. Well, I remember video games at the bowling alley when I was a kid, Jewel Lake Bowl. They would go play video games. It was Mortal Kombat. That was the big game they'd go play. I had my one friend who was a video game junkie. And I literally would go there to watch him play video games. I never really wanted to play him. I never had enough quarters. He'd always his mom would give him fucking $10. I never had any money.
Yeah.
I would have like 2 quarters.
Yeah, like you get to like take a couple shots.
Yeah, and then I'm out of quarters.
Yeah,
and
like,
he would just plug them in for fucking hours, and it was so good. This guy actually reminds me of you, actually, in terms of he was the first person I ever met who was on the internet. Like, he had an internet with his old DOS green screen. This is literally like 90-ish, 89, 90, like early. Like, no, 91, 92. I was probably 11 or 12. And he would like, dude, he had his room, his bedroom was like a fucking complete mess. Dark, and it'd be the beautiful sunny day. And he was like my best friend for like 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade kind of thing. And beautiful sunny day, and I would go over there and beg him every fucking day to like, let's go play, let's go hike it, let's go play in the river, let's go climb a tree, like let's do any of these things. And he was a video game junkie, and he had the fucking internet. And I remember the first time we were like typing on the internet in some forum. Dude, he was like 12 though. How did he even figure out know any of it to like know it?
Even know.
I don't understand. And even to this day, I'm like, who is that fucking dude? It's kind of funny. And then his dad, I never knew what his dad's job was. I either thought he was like a car mechanic, because he was kind of a slobbing, like, overweight dude, or he was a fucking CIA dude. I couldn't tell the difference. And like to this day, I'm like, because the dad was always weird and distant, and I never knew him, you know? Like, I was always at his house all the fucking time, but his dad was always gone. And anyway. He reminds me of you, because you were like advanced technology.
I don't know, like, you know, the whole, that, all my, yeah, I don't know where I wasn't really ever like a fucking super technology nerd. All I ever did was my uncle like kind of got me into RC as a kid, because he like built RC airplanes and taught me how to do that shit. And then my brother, coincidentally, was like, he got a job doing computers, and when I was in fucking, I don't know, I must have been junior high, he came home and was like, dude, this computer you guys have sucks, let's build you a new computer. And he like, him and I bought all this shit, like...
Oh, so you made a PC?
Yeah, we like literally, it was like video card, fucking...
Anyway, we're wrapping her up. Solid effort. Thom Mace, good job. We'll do it again. I want to do repeats on people. I already want to do these other people I've done. Like Andy, he was a good one.
Andy's great.
You should go watch him.
Andy's a classic, non-social, but very talkative individual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get, well, like you were saying earlier, I want to get these Girdwood. I got Opie, Carl with the K, they're in my mind. And these random people, all these fucking random people, I'm like, oh, that'd be interesting to sit with them. Bullshit.
Yeah, you sit down, the Stevies, you know. I had the same idea a little while ago but ultimately just doing like something shorter, not long form, just like.
Yeah, well, and that's back to the very beginning, the whole YouTube program. I'm doing a mishmash of stuff. It's kind of like throwing a bunch of shit at the wall and seeing what sticks in my interest and response kind of thing. And yeah, it's all experimental. And I've been really enjoying it. That's like part of, back to we'll end on where we started about the process. You know, people start videos like, oh, how many views do I got on YouTube? And I'm purposely happy that I've got 10 or 5 or 3. Like micro numbers. That one got 3 views. Like, that's hilariously little. But I'm taking it as like, whatever. Like, I'll laugh about it in 10 years when I got a bazillion, whatever. Like, I'm not putting any issue or weight or concern on it, you know?
Yeah,
I'm just doing it
we talked about that
holistically because I enjoy it. Because I do.
Part.
Yeah, and I like editing. Actually, getting back into Final Cut Pro, I like editing. I like filming, thinking of shots. I was just gonna edit, I don't know, finding music, like da-da-da. I know how to do thumbnails now, like making cool thumbnails. Super easy. It only took me 20 years.
Oh, it took you 20 years.
Anyway, peace out.
Cheers.
Yeah, 20 years. I'm a slow learner. You hear that? The chicken wire, they're like banging against the wire.
2 cents an acre. Peace.
2 cents an acre.